Welcome to the final episode of season one, taking it to the nub. It has been a fantastic year. I appreciate all the viewership. We had such great prizes we've given away throughout this season. We're going to continue that through next season. But as we end this season, I wanted to bring on a very good friend of mine, Honest Abe from Smoke Inn. If you don't know Honest Abe, you're going to know a little more about him tonight. If you know him, you know who I'm talking about. And we're going to get into some real special things on this show. We're also going to have that special raffle I told you about for the gift guide commenters. Two great prizes. We'll be rolling that wheel tonight also. Let me just bring in Abe Dababneh from Smoke Inn. What's up, my friend?
What's up?
How you doing? How was your holiday?
It was great, Jimmy. How about yours?
I was isolated, just me, my wife, and my dog. She made me some simple food. But you only do the seven fishes dinner, the big Italian thing on Christmas Eve.
I love that too.
I didn't do it. It's my daughter picked that up in Tennessee these years, so I couldn't go up there. So my wife made me, she says, I'm not making you all of that for just one person. So she goes, what do you want? I said, you know what? She made me some nice clams and linguine. That was perfect.
Classic,
simple.
classic.
A little wine, a little homemade apple pie. Yeah, she was a good cook. How about yourself?
Well, I'm blessed. We got a big family ourselves, and my wife's family's always around. So we had a nice, very nice family-oriented. We had a Christmas Eve dinner, and then the next morning, everybody came over for brunch, and the kids all got to open up the gifts, and it was a really nice holiday season for us.
Yeah, it's been tough all around. I got the phone call at early in the morning, like 8 o'clock in the morning, woke me up with the grandkids calling me from up in Nashville. And of course, what I would hear, first thing they tell me is that you got the news on. I'm like going, why? Aren't the grandkids opening up? What's going on? She's turn the news on. And I turn the news on. It's like, holy crap. It's like people are blowing stuff up. I said, this is not a good way to start Christmas Day. But they had a good time. The kids showed me everything they were doing, so everyone was happy with their gifts. And we'll see them again.
That's
great. Off.
Gotta enjoy those moments.
Absolutely, every bit of it. What are you smoking tonight?
You know what? This is the Aladino Cameroon Elegante. I guess the initial run went to a shop in Dallas called Blue Smoke Dallas, and I'd sent Jay Davis, who owns it, some cigars, and I guess he's got the beginning, I don't know, there's a pre-release called the Elegante.
Oh, wow.
But it says somewhere on here on the solo I just took off, it looked like a number out of 132. So I think that this is he got the first initial run before it goes national. But smoking, fabulous. Lancero.
Yeah, I have a couple of those in my humidor I got to get through. Absolutely. I like their vintage selection this year. The one that they put all the tobacco away on the Aladino in the beginning, and then they finally rolled it out. That was awesome.
He's like Augusto Aroa really kind of got his groove. I mean, he's really
he did
making some sticks, and they're getting noticed. Every time I'm talking to somebody, they're talking about the brand. So good for him.
Good brand, good stuff. I'm actually smoking, since it's the final show of the year, I'm smoking the last Boston Jimmie private stock that I have. So this is it.
That's the last stick you have of your all your supply.
This is the last stick of my Boston Jimmies. I got another batch coming in, hopefully in the next few weeks, but this is it. So I might as well finish the season with a Boston Jimmie. Why not?
Great choice. Are you going to be getting more?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got more on the way. That's not the last one in the world.
Oh, no.
Okay.
There's another 150 showing up. And again, these are not, I don't sell them. I just kind of give them out like a calling card. People win them in raffles. And I haven't got any bad responses yet. Maybe they're being kind to me, but I don't know.
Well, I'll have to try one on your next
You'll
run.
get one.
I'll
Check
have to
it
try
back.
one.
So 25 years next year with Smoke Inn. How did that journey start? I mean, you're originally from Chicago, right?
Yeah, it's funny. My wife was driving me here. Um, I came in to do the show, and we were just talking about this in the car ride. You know, you ask yourself, how far do you even think you saw yourself down the road? And I just don't think I ever looked further than the next little project or the next little project. And next thing you know, it's 25 years. I mean, it's nuts. I came to Florida. I was in the grocery business with my family, and I had the opportunity to take over a second location. I run the family business well, and I did so well. The co-op wanted me to take over this bigger store, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I kind of figured if I took that second location, I was going to be in grocery business the rest of my life. So I literally came to Florida on a vacation. A friend of mine who had a cigar shop down here, it was supposed to be like a 7-day trip, and I just never went back. It's true. Never went back home. About 2 months later, I flew back, loaded everything I could in the truck, and came back down. I was just in the cigar business like that. I'll never forget, like, after about 2 weeks, my father called me. He's like, aren't you supposed to be back in Chicago? And I literally told him, like, yeah, about that. Looks like I moved to Florida.
Wow. Did
Yeah.
you have a partner in this in the beginning?
What happened was I had met a friend in North Carolina, and I had just started the family business. He was just looking to do something, and he wanted me to come down and open up a cigar shop with him here in Florida. I'm like, I just like started running the family business. I don't know, leaving it is the right move at this point. So he had already started. In the meantime, I was going to build a second location of the Smoke Inn in Winnetka, Illinois. And I was dealing with a McDonald's corporation. They're actually the landlord in this lease negotiation. Looking back on it now, fortunately, took forever. We were like almost past a year and a half and still talking about that lease. And then at that time, I had the opportunity for the grocery store, and just ended up moving to Florida. So just kind of funny how things work out.
Yeah. Right, you took a shot and you made it run. You had perseverance through. I mean, you got in right at the kind of the, I'm going to say almost the tail end of the boom.
It was soon to be a lot of people going out.
Yes.
As we were getting, my original partner at the time had started to Smoke Inn, convinced me to stay in Florida. We became partners, and when I was down here visiting, I liked the business. Even what we did in the grocery was a neighborhood store that my father had, and my father's patrons' children were shopping with me. So it's always a very social, interactive experience. So when I came to Florida, I loved it. And when that gentleman at the time said, "Why don't you stay here? We'll be partners," I just jumped on it. So having no idea about the cigar business, I was a cigar smoker. That's about it. And I just spent 2 years literally working with my partner, watching what he did. And then 2 years later, he wanted to get out, and I stayed in. And it's been a pretty blessed, fortunate,
Well, no,
journey.
you got 10 shops now, right?
There are 10 Smoke Inns in South Florida, and our presence all over the world has just grown. And we're blessed. We're blessed, and we deal with great people out there on an everyday basis. I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
Now, when you look at your business model, so you started with a shop, and I want everybody to understand something. Smoke Inn was a brick and mortar shop. You started as a brick and mortar, and you went deeper, and eventually you started the online presence. When did the online presence start?
The first location I took did very well, and then out of necessity, I wanted to do a second location, and we went there, and eventually we got a third, and then I met Jonathan Drew. We became very good friends with Jonathan Drew, and it's a story I've told before. Jonathan really is the guy who convinced me that I should start doing online business. And at that time, this is where we had 3 locations. At that time, I knew I was good at the social experience of the retail end of the cigar business. So I couldn't even comprehend, how do I go online, right? I mean, how do I, we're not going to have the cheapest prices. We're not going to be the biggest company. And I can't interact with people like I do at the store. So where where do you win people over? How do you become successful at it? And Jonathan really talked me into doing it, and we struggled for many years. And as social media came, we had started, there was no Facebook, and when social media became part of the industry, and then I was able to get out there more, and then with KMA, and I just found a way to connect the experience alongside the business, not just make it always just business. We found a way that we could connect with people all over the world and do what we did here successfully.
Now, with that business model as it is today, would you say you're more still brick and mortar and the online is for the benefit of those who aren't near you? Or,
Um,
where do you put you? So you said you're social. So you like the shop environment, the brick and mortar, talking to the people environment.
yeah, that's what attracted me to the business. Um, if you look at strictly numerically, we're still brick and mortar greatly because we have many retail locations, and the online business doesn't surpass what our retail stores do. If I had one store and one online business, maybe it'd be a different story. So yeah, we're strongly brick and mortar. I just also like the fact that on top of our brick and mortar, we run our e-commerce site with the same spirit of being brick and mortar to those who shop from us abroad. I mean, there's a couple in Alaska who I feel bonded with them. I haven't met them yet. And we were just in the last couple of years with my wife. I said, I wish we knew these people. So, and you know, it, it's just cool to connect with people that way and be able to still do that, even though a lot of these patrons or people who have become friends or now friends, we've never met face to face yet. It's
Wow.
pretty crazy. Yeah, right.
That's amazing.
It is. It is pretty. It's a blessing I get out of working every day to be able to connect with people like that all over the world very easily. I mean, what a time we live in. As bad as I hate social media, and I think it's the problem with a lot of society's social interacting, whatever, there's still a beautiful thing to it if you appreciate it.
Now, when you run your online site, it's a question that we have debated in various Zoom groups that I'm in. And being a person that runs an online site that sells cigars outside the state of Florida, let's say I live in New York City. And we all know New York City is going to 120% tax, right? Some ridiculous number like that on the wholesale, right? On the wholesale price of the cigar. If I was in New York City and I ordered from your site, do I have to pay that tax? Or I don't? I mean, how's that work?
I'll be honest with you, Jim. I don't handle the legal. The mail order side kind of does. I think layman wise, if you purchase cigars from out of state, there's no OTP tax in that state. So you bought for no OTP tax.
Okay.
So coming in, and that's a lot of what the problem is on the state legislature side, because they tax this stuff, and it just shows to show you that they don't pass laws that really supposed to benefit anything, because It ends up being very detrimental to the state's income. They pass these draconian laws where just it's hard for consumers within those states to buy product.
Yeah, and they go out of state to buy product.
I mean, where you're at, they're so close, they drive across borders.
Where I'm in Florida.
Oh, are you in Florida now?
I'm in Melbourne.
I was going to ask you what the weather was. I thought you were up in the East Coast.
It's cold. What do you mean? What the weather?
Well, it's cold for us.
It was colder here today. They said that it was in Maine.
I mean, I did have a hoodie on. Yeah, it was chilly.
It was a little chilly. Yeah, it was 35 degrees this morning when I woke up and lit the door.
Yeah. I thought you were up in the East Coast, because between New York, New Jersey, and
I grew up in
Pennsylvania, guys keep driving across.
Yeah, I grew up in New York, lived in Boston for three and a half years, moved back to New York and came to Florida in '87, never looked back.
Good for you.
I was ahead of the curve for retirement, but I'm still working. But now I'll get to that someday in the future. But so I mean, if people go and would buy cigars out of state, right? And you're right, these state legislators, they haven't figured it out. It's like you're putting the cigar shop out of business.
Making less
because
revenue for the state.
they're going to go out of state and buy it, even if you don't have an online presence, right? All it does is you can pick up a phone and call. If you were hanging out down here in Melbourne, Florida, let's say, and you got to know Tony from Executive Cigar Lounge on vacation, you were visiting, you can go and make a phone call and he'll send that stuff right to you. All right. And you're going to pay no, I mean, I ordered as part of my 2020 mission I put in place to keep the lights on. I went around the country. I was buying cigars from different shops because I had all this, I didn't use any of the travel budget to go to Vegas this year. So I said, you know what? Let me just spread that around. Let me just go, and share some of that. And I remember I bought a package of cigars from a shop in Long Island, New York. And when it got all rung up, my head started to spin with the number. And I said, whatever, just run. And when I looked at the itemized receipt at the end, I realized how much they really cost me. Okay. And it's so hard for these shops to survive in that if they can go just make a phone call to a state that doesn't have that kind of draconian tax on them. And the state's losing that money. So why don't you just bring the tax back where it was supposed to be and make your money? It's either that or they're just trying to completely ban tobacco.
That's what it is. It's punitive. I believe it's punitive. Yeah, I totally believe it's punitive.
That's crazy. So in all these years, this is a question. I don't know if you've ever been asked this, but all these years, 25 years in the business, and haven't smoked cigars before, but during the time you've owned Smoke Inn, what would you say was the best cigar you ever smoked in 25 years?
That's like a huge question. I mean, literally, that's a huge question.
Stands out, one that really stood out.
There were cigars, let's put it this way, that stick in my memory because I think a lot of times for a lot of people, it's the experience that sometimes you tie to a stick itself that kind of make it was that great of a cigar that night. Somehow it's psychologically tied in. But just thinking two trade shows, three trade shows, when you smoke a cigar at a trade show and it stands out so much, you kind of know this is going to be a big hit, and there's three in all my years of going to the trade show that stick out. I remember at the show, in fact, one of them my wife bought to me, and I agreed with her completely. Maybe two out of the three now that I'm thinking about it. I think she was my good luck charm early on in the years. But I remember when I first smoked the original 1992 Rocky Patel vintage cigars. He was just coming out. I think it was the first brand that he had made that had the name Rocky Patel on it. Before that, it was Indian Tobacco, right?
Indian Tobacco, right.
So when I smoked those for the first time, something told me right away, this is going to be a big hit. This is going to be a life changer for Rocky. Another one was, I'll never forget, the first Singularity Phantom, I think it was called, or Singularity, the first Singularity that Dion made under Illusion, and that was a limited run. And I bought a lot because I just smoked it, and my wife liked that one too. I think it's one of the ones that she said was incredible. And another one that stood out was that we both, I think, either that or the Illusion she mentioned first, but we both thought that this was a great cigar at the trade show, and it stood the test of time too, is Oliva V. When Oliva V came out and we smoked it, like, wow, this is going to be like a biggie, and it has been. So, I mean, I don't know if they're the best cigars, but they're the most ones I have a memory of, most memorable moments in my cigar smoking lifespan, I guess.
So Kevin, I'm watching comments coming in. So Kevin Schweitzer from Rockefeller Cigars, he asks, I want to hear what Abe's craziest experience in the cigar industry was.
Wow. Craziest cigar industry experience. That's really a tough one. I know a lot of guys in this industry have crazy stories. and I'm sure I had a bunch of them too. Trying to think of the craziest experience in the cigar industry. For some reason, I'm locking on Drew Estate because I just assume if I was going to have the craziest time, it would definitely be involved Drew Estate. Somehow, we were all real close back then. I'll have to come back to that one. I have
All
to
right,
think
well, you
about.
think about that
If
for
I can think of a crazy time.
you think about that for one moment here. I'm going to take a quick, fast pay to bill commercial break. You can watch when we go on. Let's take a couple of seconds. Just give a big shout out to my sponsors of the show. Um, so today's show is brought to you by Frontline Cigars. Frontline Cigars is always on the front line of flavor, innovation, and giving back to those who serve. As a first responder company based in Chicagoland area, Frontline Cigars strives to give back to those that serve, whether it be first responders or military, through numerous charitable foundations. At Frontline Cigars, you'll always find a wide range of cigars, from boutique to everyday brands, in addition to a fine selection of cigar accessories and swag. There's always something new to try at frontlinecigars.com, like the new revised Stogie Press sampler, which consists of 5 90-plus rated cigars on Stogie Press. You can follow Frontline Cigars on Instagram and Facebook for updates, or check out their site, www.frontlinecigars.com. Today's show is also brought to you by Tarazona Cigars. Tarazona Cigars, they do it with passion. At Tarazona Cigars, they're very passionate about the cigars they make. Since 2002, they've taken pride in the quality and craftsmanship of every cigar that goes into every box of the Tarazona brand. At Tarazona Cigars, they do it with passion. You can check out Tarazona Cigars at www.tarazonacigars.com. I'd like to thank my sponsors. Without you, this show is a little bit harder. There we go. Pay the bills. You know how to do that.
Always got to pay the bills.
Got to pay the bills.
All right. So I thought 2 crazy stories during the break. I needed that break. One, Shirtless Mike was asking me, we used to do a thing called South Florida Surf, Turf, and Herf. And it was like a 4-day extravaganza where the first few ones, guys flew in from other parts of the country. But it would start Thursday night, and it would literally go from Thursday night to Friday. Friday morning, we would take a tour to Little Havana. I would take them all around. And we'd go Friday night. We'd finish some club at 5 in the morning. And then Saturday morning, either went deep sea fishing or golfing. And then it was like 4 days. And the object was to be the Iron Man and not sleep and go through the whole thing. And after a while, people started getting hospitalized. So after I think 5 years or 6 years of doing it, we just stopped because literally 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row, people were getting hospitalized trying to do this whole weekend. And it was a bad idea. We just started getting too old to do that, So that was one of them. And then the other one, which I had to ask my wife permission to tell while we were on break, it was, I think, my bachelor party. It was a lot of my friends from the industry. Jonathan Drew, Marvin Samo was there, Eric Espinosa, Jeff Borshowitz from Corona Cigar. It was really a bunch of us, a lot of us young at the time, still scraping our way. And we went for this bachelor party. We went for a nice meal, and then we went to a strip club, like a lot of guys do. Nothing crazy, nothing extravagant. And afterwards, we come back to my shop, and we're in the shop, and we're all just having, nightcaps and laughing and talking, having a great night. And Marvin goes, "Abe, you got a hickey." I'm like, I literally said, "Get the hell out of here. I didn't have a hickey on my neck. You're nuts." He's like, "No, I'm kidding. I thought he was pulling my leg." I'm like, "No one got close to me." And I wasn't like, we were all drinking, having a good time, but not to the point where I can't remember things that happened. And sure enough, I go look at the mirror. I'm like, "Jesus, somebody gave me a hickey. I don't even remember when this happened." So then I get all paranoid, didn't know what to do. So anybody who knows Marvin Samo knows, the freakiest things in the world will happen to you if you hang out with him. Marvin got locked into a bathroom after a whole deli closed, and they left and locked him in New York City. I mean, just weird things happen. So we picked Marvin as a story where we're in a booth and he was puffing on a cigar and he turned to get out and he burned my neck. So then the other part was Marvin had to burn my neck. So he kept trying to burn it, and he was just too scared to push it hard enough. So he burned me more than he covered the hickey. So we had to call Jeff Borshowitz to come in and do it right. And then I had this burn mark that we had this story for years until I finally told my wife about that story, which she finds hilarious. I went to all that trouble instead of just coming home with the hickey.
That is, I can't top that.
It had everything. It had a little torture, a little pain, a little fun, and a lot of people from the industry. So I thought that was a good story.
During the Lazona Palooza, you were a guest on that for a while, and one of the things you brought up is that this year, which is going to be the 15th year doing the Great Smoke, and for those that don't know the Great Smoke, you don't know what you're missing because it is the best event in the state of Florida, hands down. Okay, what Abe provides for you for the cost of admission to this is bar none. I mean, the whiskey row alone is worth the price if you indulge. And I indulged one year too much, and I'm glad I didn't drive. A friend of mine took me back, staying at his place. Okay, but yeah, everything you get there is amazing. And this year, you announced that because of where we're at with this pandemic, you didn't want to take any chances. You're going to do a virtual event. Now, we were sitting through this Lazona Palooza, which they had a pretty cool couple of day event. It was a big Zoom, everybody's on. But you're going to do something different this year. You said you're hiring a crew out of Atlanta. Talk about how this is actually going to work. That is going to be different than just an average Zoom event.
Well, like you said, our event now would have been going on 15 years. And historically, it's become a very well-known event, and it's been growing incredibly every year. And it's because it's, for me, what we call it's an experience-driven event. Everything we think about from the moment you get there, the moment you leave, is how do we make this experience not just about coming and getting cigars, but being an experience of an event. And the last thing we wanted to do was give that up this year. We didn't want to just not have it because we couldn't do it the way we wanted to do it. But then you start asking yourself, well, how can you do it? And I watched a couple other virtual multi-vendor cigar events that got canceled and tried to do it virtually. And it just, nothing excited me. It just felt like they were selling a package, right? So, and not to their fault. I mean, it's all we have at this time. So I brought my team in here and we started think tanking, and one of the ideas or comments was like, would it be great if we do like a Jerry Lewis, like telethon style, 8 hours? And as we started talking about that, at first we thought, okay, that would be a great idea, but what's the next idea we got? Because, and then it just so happened that my operations guy has been friends for 20 or 30 years with this guy, a friend of his who owns a company called Showtech. And these guys have done the Golden Globes and the Kings of Comedy and Soul Train and other national events. And we reached out to him, and all of a sudden everything became more plausible. So the making of the package, which we call the ticket, is the easiest part of the whole thing, right? I take 40 top-notch cigars, no house brands, no duds, no crappers. These are the manufacturers bless us every year when they're supporting, bring like really good cigars. You get these 40 great cigars with a traveling case, with a shot glass, with all the commemorative gear, hat, shirt, even a shot glass we made. There's other swag in it. And it's kind of everything you would have gotten coming to the event and more for like $169 delivered, right? So that's the easy part. You made a hell of a package, a super sellable product. You gave people more than they probably would have gotten, there physically. But now what do you do? That's the easy part. We get the packages out. Everybody gets this killer party in a box ticket thing. And now what do you do? So this is where we really are tackling it, of trying to make a television broadcast kind of Tonight Show format style experience. It's not just cigar guys, but it's entertainers and it's magicians and it's musicians and it's people with products, and do it like that. And I very nervous. We've never done this before. This is off the wall thinking. I'm by no means any kind of a professional, or my career path has any kind of like, oh well, this is like a TV show. This is not like my KMA or my thing. And if we pull it off, I think we'll do something pretty cool and pretty special. And I got some great support from the manufacturers. I think some of them still don't understand what we're doing. They just, okay, we're in, you know? But I think we pull it off, it'll be awesome. And we're trying to work in these active components. And like the development of this idea hasn't stopped for one day. I mean, there's a national chain that I'm talking about, and you know, you, you throw 100 tries at something, you're lucky you get 2 or 3. So it's constantly being developed of how we're going to make this interactive, and if we pull that off. But I think it's just going to be a cool thing. I think it's going to be like how we used to grow up, Jerry Lewis Telethon. Your parents put it on in the morning, they'd leave, you'd come back, play with your friends. It's still on. You're like, oh my God, what is this? And you know, if we pull this off, I think it'll be incredible. It's never been done before. It's definitely what I'd like to make it an event. I don't want a virtual event where I'm just selling a box, you know, because that's just sales then. So how do you make it an event? And I think you're one of the first people outside my organization to see this, but we sent you, I think this is the first time it's going to be put out there. I don't know if you can screen share it of the mock-up of what the studio, I sent Jimmie a mock-up of what this, because we're going to let 50 people watch it live, because part of the vibe I feel is to have a live audience for the interactive stuff. So how these 3 sets are going to look that we're going to be broadcasting on. I mean, these guys got like, I think 4 or 5 cameras coming in. One's on a big stick, you know, and a couple of floor guys, but I think it's going to be a pretty cool show.
Yeah, let me open this up here. So
I think people still aren't understanding it. So it's always kind of hard to keep explaining it. So that's the stuff. And then, you know, a lot of times when people come here, they take advantage of these great deals we have every year at the Great Smoke. So yeah, look at that. That's the rendering of the potential studio set. You know, I think the bar is going to be a little bit more flattered out, so it's equal to the entertainment side on the side. But this is the quality of what we're looking to do for our broadcast. And you know, if we pull it off, I think it'll be amazing. So anybody who buys a ticket in the box, they'll have a separate portal that they can go to a special store that'll be on the Great Smoke website and can take advantage of all these normally crazy good deals that we would have at the Great Smoke. And some of the manufacturers are making some very limited products, which is pretty cool, to have people like Carlito Fuente, Pete Johnson, Nick Perdomo, Rocky's doing it, Aganorsa is doing it, making these very special small run releases for me in my event, which is pretty cool. And you'll only be able to get those if you have bought the ticket. So you got to kind of like physically be there. So it's kind of like the equivalent of being there. You have the ticket, you have access to all the cool event stuff. But if you didn't buy a ticket, you'll be able to watch it because we're going to broadcast it to the world. We're putting way too much effort into this thing, which I keep saying we're trying something historic. That if we pull it off, you want everybody to see it.
yeah,
You know, they won't get to participate either in the interactive components or any of the offerings or any of the special deals, but they'll still get to see the experience and maybe, you know, say, hey, this is something that down the road we really need to get to as far as when it's a real event. Because if it's this cool digitally, can't even imagine how the real physical event's like.
right, exactly, and it'll definitely, you know, build more pizzazz the next year. That says, hey, you know, people would want to experience such an event. One of the things I wanted to do tonight, so tonight's a special show. This is the end of the year show, and one of the things I was doing is I had put out every year I put out a gift guide on Stogie Press, and this year I decided to do something a little bit different. And what I chose to do, in addition to the gift guide, I decided I would ask people to read to the bottom of this gift guide. And at the very bottom of the guide, it tells you, go comment, okay? And you can win some of my stash, right? Now, some people did, some people didn't. They had until midnight last night to put in their comments. So we had some comments coming in here. We had some thoughts, and I've added some of those in here. Abe, you asked me, you say, hey, well, don't forget about, you know, the TGS party in a box. So that's at the top of the list right now. You don't get to win anything out of my stash though. But but what I'm doing is tonight, right now, we're gonna have a quick little additional Wheel of Wonderfulness. And the Wheel of Wonderfulness tonight is going to have two prizes. And I talked about this earlier this afternoon. One person's going to win a Drew Estate survival kit, which includes an ashtray, a cigar prop, cigar holder, and a cigar case, along with a whole bunch of Bodyguard cigars out of my personal stash. And the second person is going to win this beautiful Placencia ashtray, okay? Along with a bunch of Bodyguard cigars out of my personal stash. That's my Christmas present to two people who took the time to go out there on my site and comment and add some things to it. So at this moment, I'm going to quick go through that. We're going to have a little giveaway here. There's not a lot of people on the wheel. So those that didn't get in, well, I'm sorry. This is the wheel. So these are the names that came in. Those that know this, they know you should know your name. So I'm going to give a little shuffle to the wheel. The first prize is going to be for the Drew Estate Survival Kit and some cigars. And this guy, I got to admit, this guy's won a few prizes on the Wheel of Wonderfulness. Kevin, you win something special. Thank you very much for following Stogie Press. We'll take you off the wheel. And the second prize is going to be for the Placencia ashtray and a whole bunch of cigars. And I believe that's Kelvin Brown. So Kelvin Brown, congratulations. So those are the winners of the Stogie Press Gift Guide giveaway. I hope you enjoy a belated Christmas present. I will try to get all of this out in the mail tomorrow. Hopefully you'll have it if the postal service works. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but maybe you'll have it in time for Little Christmas on January 6th so you can have an extra gift to open. So, okay, so now you told me today you actually are going to throw in a prize for next week's Wheel of Wonderfulness. Talk about what you're tossing in.
Yep, we're going to give you a ticket to the Great Smoke, a virtual ticket, what we call Party in the Box. So you can pick a winner, let us know who it is, we'll get your code, and they can get their ticket, and they'll Party in a Box will be delivered. Look, the Party in the Box alone is literally the best value. We list all the cigars.
There it is.
And somewhere on the website, when you go there, it'll list the 40 cigars because we're proud of what's going in there. We want you to know every one of the 40 cigars you're getting. And the rest of that stuff, I mean, it's without exaggeration, it's a $430+ value of stuff for $169 delivered to your door. You really can't beat it. And
this right here, so talk a little bit about this. So besides the basic swag, so we got the cigars. This is a travel humidor.
Yep, it's a 30 cigar travel humidor that you're getting with that.
Okay. This is very interesting. A lot of people would love this. I know I collect cigar bands. So this is a Tuero Fuente cigar band holder.
That is a Romeo and Julieta.
Oh, Romeo and Julieta.
Yeah, they call it cigar band bolt. Everybody will get one of these bolts. They're pretty cool. You can mount them to your wall. You can stack them if you make more than one, but you just drop all your cigar bands and it fills up the wall and looks very pretty. So it was a very cool thing they came out with. They were very nice to work with us to get one of these in everybody's box. And we've got over here some little nips. Yep. Then we got the official branded Digital Experience Great Smoke hat, shirt, the travel case, the shot glass, and the lanyard that you would have gotten if the commemorative lanyard that you would have gotten if you come out. Now, there may be other things in what's pictured here. Like I said, I've been constantly working with companies to get some other cool things, but as it evolves, we'll constantly update the stuff. So don't forget, get out there, like, love, share this Facebook Live. Next Saturday, you'll be on the wheel, and maybe you will win that. Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win. So it's win-win. We're going to have all these packages arriving literally like the week before the event goes live. So they'll have anything that you need for the event. But like I said, the package alone is like the best deal you'll find out there in the Cigarverse. So grab yourself a Party in the Box if you get a chance. Now, when you
What was when you were celebrating Christmas this year? There's a little side question I like to ask at Christmas time. Do you watch any Christmas movies, family?
You know, I think Die Hard's been on a lot. Um,
It's a
I
Christmas
grew
movie.
up watching The Miracle on 34th Street, It's a Wonderful Life and all those classics. But my kids are the new generation of classics. What do they watch, babe? What Chris? Oh, you're not hearing me? You can't hear me? What Christmas movies do kids watch every year?
Watch the Grinch.
We do watch The Grinch every year. Hey, what else?
Oh yeah.
Home Alone.
Yep, Home Alone's been another one that they watch a lot. We got kids from 10 to, from 12. Yeah, sorry, 12, 10, 8, and 6, basically. And the 10-year-old, 11-year-old now. So they all got their different favorites. So you kind of got to watch a little bit of everybody's favorites.
I think the one I like that I've been watching more is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
And that's a classic.
That is just, I mean, the way they made that movie, it's all clay form. And it's mind blowing to
Classic.
watch how they did that. All, freeze frame motion of everything and all the, and every character in that you kind of recognize it in the strangest form that it is. But I love that movie. I mean, it's just I'm glued to the TV watching it, and I see different things every time I watch it. I see something else that I didn't see before that shows up.
Yeah, that's definitely right up there in the big classics.
Did
Do you have any plans for New Year's? You got anything going on for New Year's?
We're gonna do the same thing we did for Christmas. We're gonna be staying at home. My wife, she can be compromised, so I can't really go anywhere. So I'm looking forward to getting a vaccine as soon as I can, so that she and I can, get back out in the world. I can get back out doing my cigar shop, reviews. I mean, I really missed that this year. I had a whole plan to go to Georgia and I was going to hang out with Cigar Mike and do a whole Atlanta cigar scene for like an extended weekend. And this thing happened. I had a whole thing planned. I was all ready to go, and then everything got put on hold, So, we're just going to sit down. I'll pop a bottle of champagne. And as usual, I will have my top cigars announced at the stroke of midnight.
Wow.
Article will go out every year, stroke of midnight. I float the candidates. Okay. I put already out. So this year we did something different. I decided that I've moved, my site has been built by and supported heavily by boutique small guys over the years. And I've been loyal to them all these years. But I also recognize that some of them have moved beyond boutique. Like Southern Drawer is not boutique small anymore by any stretch of the imagination, right? So they've moved into another category that I call medium. And I said, if I'm going to do that, then I also got to do kind of the large guys. I got to do the Davidoffs. I got to do the Fuentes. I got to do whatever I can on the big side. So I decided to create a separate list, 15 of each. They give me the top 15 in each one of those categories, and each one of them will get a plaque at the show this year if I go.
Oh.
Okay, because I always give a plaque for my top one. So there'll be 3 plaques, and then on January 2nd, the show, I will announce the overall Stogie Press Best Cigar of the Year. Okay, and that'll be a special award that they'll get just for that. So we kind of advance this. We keep morphing and growing every time I think through stuff. You know how it is. You're running something, you come up with new ideas. You go, hey, let's try this. Let's play with this. So we put out the first 2 drops. So there's been 10 of each that have been put out. The last set of candidates go out this Monday. And then I sit down and I do my final thing and put the article together and have it ready to go. And on the stroke of midnight, I push the button, publish, and it goes out, and you'll know who is number 1 in each category. And it's fun because believe it or not, over the years, that the traffic, I watch the traffic, and it actually does start to go up right around that time to see the announcement.
I think that's an interesting system. I like it.
So I keep a little suspense going. It's suspense is good. And but I've smoked some great cigars this year. I mean, I I'm surprised. Like, what would you say was one of the standout new brands? Have you brought new brands? Have you bring any new brands into the shop this year?
Yeah, we're always bringing new brands into the shop. I mean, and there's a lot. It's still a lot. I don't know. In my opinion, it hasn't slowed down. Um, I'm a numbers driven guy. I love reading reports and seeing everything. So, this is strictly from the gut. And then honestly, when you get to I guess my age or whatever you call it, the years blur. I'm not sure if that was this year or last year anymore. I've been making that mistake a lot since COVID. Like, there was like a blip where a year like almost didn't exist.
Yeah, sometimes I think it's Friday, it's only Thursday.
It's crazy. So, Standout Cigars this year. I think, I mean, standout manufacturers or cigar lines or brands. I lost the question.
Cigar brands.
If you're talking about like a specific line or like the whole company.
The company that came out.
I mean, I think this was the year of
new
Saka.
company.
I mean, new. Do you consider Saka still new or not?
No. I'm saying somebody that just
give me some multiple choice on what's the new.
I'll give you an example. I think one of the big standout ones that I saw this year is Stallone Cigars, Stallone Nicaragua Cigars. Todd Vance is pushing.
Right.
Okay. I'm absolutely love that collection of cigars they have, that Cowboy series.
Yeah. See, I'm not even sure. There's a lot of the new brands that came out this year, but if we don't carry them,
that's what I mean.
I wouldn't relate to them. So I can't. For me, new brands sometimes is not an equitable question because it's not always brand new brands that like if they just came out this year, we may not even talk to them for a year, 2 or 3 years before either they approach us or they get on our radar. So it's a tough question, that one.
So what did you bring? Did you bring anything new into the shop this year that you really, just could have been around?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Project 40 this year or last year. I can't remember.
They just come out with Project 40 Maduro this year.
Okay, so both of them, I think, did phenomenal in the market and had a huge response. I think when the first one came out and when the second one came out, I think that was a big talked about cigar this year.
And what about the Alec and Bradley ones?
You know what? Gatekeeper, Magic Toast, was that this year or last year?
Magic Toast was last year. Gatekeeper, I think, was last year. It might have been early this year.
It could be both last year. The kids are doing good work. They're hustling. They're not on their they're not sitting on their laurels. They're working it and they're taking pride in what their dad started. And I think they're making really, really good stuff. They really are. I can't wait to see this new Alec Bradley chest that they're coming out. I saw pictures of them online. We didn't get ours yet, but I see them online.
Nice looking collection of cigars, and what's nice about that, it goes all the way back to the beginning of that line of the fine and rare cigars. So those are the original fine and rare.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to see that set. And then another, like, as far as something like new, like here's a perfect example. You have the Oliva family. And I'm not talking about the Oliva cigars, I'm talking about the Oliva tobacco family out in Tampa. And we had them on our radio show. And historically profound family in the whole developmental of the cigar industry for generations. And they were telling us about their cigar, the Don Lydia. And they sent us some to smoke. And I was like, holy cow. And I had never heard of it. Like, I just started hearing of it when we knew we were prepping to get him on the show, but it had been around for 3 or 5 years, and it's like nuts. And we bought it in, and just because they sent me some to try, I was like, oh, this guy's amazing. The price point was reasonable. We got to bring this in. And it's been selling incredible, I'm seeing posts of it more and more online. I mean, for me, that was a big sleeper, you know. But like I said, it might not have been new to other people because they had been around, just
Yeah.
very quiet about making it, not telling people, not,
Yeah.
you know, showing up. And that's why I was really, really proud because like I just started working with these guys. I don't have a long history, and I was really happy when they were willing to get one of their cigars in the Great Smoke 40 cigars. There's a Don Lydia by Excelsior Tobacco, which is the Oliva family. So I was really happy that they were willing to participate and be involved in that. So I think getting that cigar out there is going to be a big sleeper for a lot of people.
Chris Cotere, one of my followers, says the ones he says stand out were Nova, Stallone, Nicaragua, Drunk Chicken, Black Star line cigars, and Providencia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ashamed, like I'll tell you, I don't even know most of those. I mean, look, it's so hard because my gear is different. You know, you guys are the hardcore on the consumer end. You guys are always looking and wanting to learn and see what's going on and whatever. And I kind of do that with my stuff, but I do it, it's filtered through what we have here, right? So I'm not chasing stuff down. But my frequency is always trying to be on the pulse of what my consumers want. So that's what makes that decision-making process is because at the end of the day, that's my service. I'm providing them stuff they want. So trying to keep my finger on the pulse of that controls what I'm exposed to. So if we don't get callings for that, you know, I don't have time to start researching other brands. And we have a lot of people who just mail stuff. We had one guy mail stuff to one of our locations, wasn't even a headquarters. It showed up. No, I could do a whole series on unprofessional shipments when guys are trying to solicit your business, right? Hasn't talked to anybody from my company. Looked like they took the cigar box and they sent me off of a retail shelf because they had a barcode on it. And then in the cigar box, put about 20 different of their various blends. The cigar box had a price on the inside, at $7.70 a stick. So it was on the shelf in some retail store. Sealed it up, threw a price sheet in a Ziploc envelope, no card, no letter, no, and just mailed it to one of my locations. It's like, I mean, how did you even think that was going to work out? It's crazy. Don't even know which blend is what, not a phone call. It's just not. So you got to weed through those and try to find some of the gems. And a lot of times, you know, if you're really listening to your consumers, you know, you find your path, and it's a balance because we can't carry everything. There's only so much linear space.
Thousands of blends out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weighted reaction. If one guy only is coming, but no, look, I mean, here's the way I run my business, right? We buy from a lot of people. I don't carry all the lines from a lot of people. So if you wanted something as a consumer, something we don't have in the store, but look, I just put it on my next order. We get shipments 1 or 2 times a week from everybody. So we get you that box. You know, we bring it, it's easier to do it that way than to bring in a whole SKU if there's not enough of a calling for it, because there's only so much linear footage. So you want to try to appease the ratio of as many people as you can by what you carry. It's tough. It's a tough game for a retailer, you know, to stay on top of it like that, because a lot of it finds dead weight. Then you need a vehicle to move the dead weight out the door, you know? So it's that balance of moving out the dead SKUs that are just taking up valuable space that could make a lot of people happy. So, and that's what you just kind of keep trying to do.
Now, after a quarter century in this business and having smoked cigars before you got into it, did you learn anything about cigars that really stand out to you in your history of owning, smoking, just whether it be construction, blending, what some of your experiences that you've learned over the years?
There are people who are attracted to different sides of things, right? So I was never attracted to the agriculture of the cigar industry, right? That's like Jeff Borshowitz. Like he's on the farm growing, you know, making Florida sun grow. He loves the agricultural side. I always loved the social active side of it, and you know, that end of the cigar smoking. So I think any of my early trips in career, when I really started learning about not just the leaves and the chemistry, but just all the different processes from a single seedling through the whole steps and the sorting and the curing and, you know, the drying and the making of the cigars and the aging and then even the boxes. seeing that whole spectrum of what it takes to make a box of cigars. We grew up with this mentality. It's an assembly line, nuts and bolts machines,
Yeah.
and not this huge process. So I think for me, getting in early on it, on that side, that was a really enlightening experience.
I found one of the most amazing things I've learned in the time I've been doing this was visiting the box manufacturer. You ever been to a box manufacturer?
Yeah, multiple ones.
It blows your mind that these guys, they don't get enough respect in this industry for what their craft is and do for what this industry needs, and how fast they can take an idea and turn it into reality.
Yep.
And I just think that is just an amazing place. Like place down there's one down in the Dominican that I've been to a couple of times. That I remember a friend of mine had a cigar line. Ryan Gallimore, actually, Ryan.
Yeah.
So he had come up with this idea of these little cigars he was going to have called them the putt putts, right? And he wanted a case. He wanted a cigar box for it, but he wanted it to be made of wood. He wanted nice rounded edges with a slide top.
Oof.
And I was there when we were talking about this. And these guys, they said, okay, give us a moment. Why don't you guys go to lunch? And you're in Dominican, lunch is like 2 hours, So you go to lunch, and when you come back, we'll show you a prototype. We came back in 2 hours. This guy had this beautiful thing. It was like, I'm looking at this, I go, he did this in 2 hours, and just that alone, that craft adds so much to this business as a total, because that's the artwork. That's the art that goes into what the cigars are all about.
Yep. For me, it's the equivalent of the body on a car. You got a great engine, but that body is what wraps it. The packaging, that's the packaging of the engine.
That's right. That's right. Let me take a moment here. One last thing I like to do is go through a little bit of what's new in news and cigar reviews on Stogie Press. It was kind of a light news week for me this week. I don't always get the news. Coop gets the news, man. I got to get on Coop's news list, but that's okay.
We just bring him on KMA. That's
yeah.
we made him a contributor. He brings the news in.
Exactly. I know that well. So let me just open this up here, and we'll go to. So for cigar reviews, I just reviewed today the Year of the Ox.
Yeah.
All right. This is a phenomenal cigar, hands down. And I'm going to tell you right now about this cigar. In the beginning, it's a mild to medium strength, and it just, it's a $40 cigar, everybody. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you really are a cigar enthusiast, you need to get at least one of these somewhere. All right. But beautiful oily wrapper. The burn, fantastic ash comes off of it. Great burn cone. This thing burned, only gave two drops in the ash all the way down. The thing about this cigar is when it got down to the final third, it caught me by surprise with the strength, because I felt the medium kind of plus strength going through the second half. When it got into the final third, it just kind of made me like, oh my God, I need some water to drink right now, because this thing hit me hard. And this is a phenomenal cigar. Davidoff did a great job with this cigar. Highly recommend people checking it out. This is a small company a lot of people don't know about, a company called Tobacco Trading Company. They have a line. This is one of their lines. It's called the Trifecta. It's basically two wrappers. And the way they do it is they have different wrappers. So this particular one is a Brazilian and a Sumatra. So this one here we gave a 91 to. They come packaged 45 in a box for the shelf, 15 of each blend. And this one here, you can see it's got the two different tapers. You could smoke it from either side. That's this thing that he has. So you could smoke the cigar. There's no head and there's no foot. So you actually, this review I went through and I smoked it both ways. Smoked it on the Brazilian side and smoked it on the Sumatra side and gave my notes on it. Either way, this cigar ended up becoming like a 91. It did have some waves in the burn. I don't know if scented burn cone either way, but very nice flavors. Interesting cigar. I've reviewed some of their other trifectas. This one came out a little better than the others. The Drew Estate Year to Rat, what more can I say? If you know their Year to Rat, they came out again with it. At TPE last year, they were throwing these around like candy to people, the attendees. But this one here comes in nice gold foil. This is the 2020 edition. This is just a great cigar. I mentioned this to Joe Groh and Ryan Gallimore on a show I had the other week, that the blend I said sounds almost like the Bauhaus that they came out with for the international market. But it's just where they're putting the leaf and the size of the cigar makes a difference. But this was a fabulous cigar. I mean, I just love this. I love the Rat in the beginning, and this is just as good as it was before. So great burn, great flavors coming through. Southern Draw, Jacob's Ladder, Brimstone, the Unprecedented. If you got 2.5 hours to sit back and enjoy a cigar, this is probably the best in this Jacob's Ladder line right now. This is just a spectacular smoke. I mean, I just really sat back, like I said, for 2.5 hours, just absolutely enjoyed this cigar. The flavors that came through on this was very complex. Everything from your normal sweetness into your dark chocolate and savory notes. Spices and the fruits come in, the cedar sweetness. It just kind of kept morphing around and shifting and just giving me a delightful journey all the way through. The only real point that came off of this had a slight jag in the burn. My rating system says if you get an extra bonus point if you got a perfect burn. I mean, like under a microscope. Otherwise, you lose a point for the jag. Just the way it works. And then the last one we reviewed was the Unstolen Valor. Okay, another really fine cigar. If you like the Barton Tobacco and Trust, this one is actually not Steve Saka's blend. Okay, this blend right here is actually coming from from Senor Raul Disla from Nicaraguan American Cigars and Esteli. He came up with the blend. He ran it. All Saka did was encourage him to make it happen. They smoked it. They liked it. They put it on the market. Very nice, typical Muestra de Saka emblem on it. And really nice burn. A little bit of a flat burn going on it when it came off. Slight little off burn here and there. Overall, really nice cigar. Highly recommend this if you're into any of these Steve Saka blends. This is not his, but he's gonna run with it because it's a fine cigar. From a news perspective, it was a light week in news, quick news. We put out the Ladies of the Leaf is now out on the Stogie Press YouTube channel. So if you didn't catch that episode, it's now archived out there. That was a really great episode. We had a bunch of different women from in the industry and consumers, and we had a panel of 6 of them, and we just talked all things about what women cigar smokers go through, whether it be in the business side of it or just in the consumer side. We had a really good time in that show, so you can check that out. Espinosa now announced their 601 Lombardo Warhead Collector Sampler. You got that, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I just saw that. So this is a $79 sampler, but it comes with the original warheads. So these are out of the vault, from what I understand. These are not like reblended or anything. These are the original ones going back in time. So from 2013 to 2019. So this is an absolutely beautiful presentation. If you are an Espinosa fan and you get this cool coin. Now, from what I understand, There are 3 boxes of these somewhere in circulation that has a gold one. All right, so there's a golden ticket one in 3 of these boxes that they produced. So really, really nice presentation. Eric really went over the top with that. And then Casa Cueva announced that they've expanded into Australia. So I love the fact that these companies that we're all fond of and know in the industry, they really have taken their business and they've grown it beyond the United States. And they're able to get places like Australia and Europe and China and Japan picking up the lines and helping them grow. So they've just expanded into Australia through a collaboration with this company called Heco Hermano. They're a cigar merchant. So that's just the quick news on that, what they were doing. And of course, I put out the last drop of the top cigars of the year, second cut. So the third cut will come out on Monday. So that's our news and reviews for the week. So if you were to sum up Abe, who is Abe? How would you describe yourself to people?
Honestly, if it's not the character Abe, in the show, I think I would sum me up as just being blessed. Been very lucky in life, lucky with the people around me. It just happened again today. I have distinct stories of when I felt most blessed, whether it's just my friends, my coworkers, my business, and just the family life that I've been blessed with. We were in Tennessee once, and man, people are friendly in Tennessee. The whole level of hospitality, they're just friendly. I mean, you feel friendly everywhere you go. And we've been down there twice with the kids, and I think we took them to Cracker Barrel one time for breakfast. And my sister-in-law, one of my wife's younger sisters, was with us. Or they traveled with us a lot, especially helping the kids. And we were just having a fun breakfast. And I think my wife would always have this thing at the middle there. Everybody say, "Thank you, Daddy," and my whole family would be like, "Thank you, Daddy," and they had done that in the restaurant. And then this couple was walking out, and the guy literally, I sit in the booth, the guy literally grabs my arm and says something to the fact of about witnessing a blessed man. And he felt that it was an amazing day for him because he witnessed a blessed man and I was a blessed man. And I get goosebumps just talking about that story. It was very chilling. And then this morning, there's a place by our house we frequent for breakfast a lot. And she's maybe 80s, but she's an older woman and she sits by the register and it's her place and she runs it and she does it with such care, talks to everybody so nice. It's not even my favorite place to go eat. It was just, my wife loves it and they're just so pleasant. So they had seen us a little bit before the break and we went to breakfast this morning and the woman says to me, "Did you get everything you want for Christmas?" And my response to her was, "Yeah, I got everything right there." And it was the booth right next to where her counter was by the register. And my whole family was there. And she said something about, gave my family a compliment and agreed with how blessed and lucky I was. And then said, "I'm not saying that because I'm jealous. I'm saying that because I'm glad to be part of it." So that's how I feel my life's been. I've been very fortunate. I've been very blessed. I try to pay it forward as often as I can. And it's just,
Me too.
yeah, it's just the way I see life's been, and I've been fortunate with that. So, in my late 20s, mid 20s, I got my first tattoo ever, and it ended up being this big guardian angel that looks forward on one of my calves, and that's just kind of how I felt. Like, I don't think anybody's road's ever easy. There's times where you think you're going to give up. There's times where you think it's over. There's times where you don't know which direction you want to go. And I've managed to be lucky enough or blessed enough where things just kind of fell into place and kept moving forward. And it's been no complaints on my end.
It's a good feeling, and like I think what you said it properly is, you pay a little forward and you take care of people. It's amazing how
Yeah,
it comes back around
yeah.
in times you don't even expect it. I mean, there are times when there's the other times when you think you hit pay dirt in one respect, and then you wake up one morning and your plumbing has failed in your house, and just what you thought you had on the side now had to go pay for something. You're like, wow, wait a second. And then out of the blue, something else happens, and it's like, wow, how did that happen to
You know, Sal Fontana, one of my, I've been blessed. I've been blessed with good mentors. Sal Fontana, originally from, Caribbean Port Cigars, which became Camacho, and then Davidoff. Um, Sal helped, built that company. He was a mentor to Christian Aroa too. And, he wants to give me the best advice. He said, if moving in heaven and earth won't change something, then why waste time worrying about it? So I have one of those things where people ask me, how you doing today? And they think it's a cute response, but I'm like, I woke up. And I'm serious. I mean, I woke up today. There's nothing really to complain about after that, you
me?
know? So
My dad used to do that. God rest his soul. He used to, when he was in his old age, he would get up in the morning and he'd get his cup of coffee and his eggs, and he'd sit down and read the newspaper, and he'd read the headlines in the front. Then he'd flip it to the back and read the sports page, and then he'd flip it to the obituaries. And
uh,
he goes, "Oh, my name's not in it."
yeah,
And then sometimes he'd sadly look at it, and you see in his face, and he goes, "Oh man, Billy died," or he knew somebody. And he always told me, he says, the magic thing about life, Jim, is as you get older, especially, you're going to lose people that family members, friends. They're going to pass away. But the magic part about life is that same year, you're going to find out you're going to a wedding, or you're
yeah.
going to a christening. All right. You got a new baby's being born, and that circle of life goes. So when one takes away, something else comes to replace it, and life keeps going on. And if you embrace life at its fullest, I always said, you got to just roll with the punches and pull yourself up and keep moving forward. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. You learn a few, you learn by those mistakes, and next thing you know, you're going to make it better and better as you go on, and help people every which way you can go. Try to help people out, whether it just be a prayer or a thought or actually doing something special for them. That all comes back to you in ACEs.
I live that. That's the way I live. I believe the universe answers. It's fickle. So it's just I was fortunate enough and guidance I had in my career. I never shy away if people want to ask a question. If I can help, if anything I know is useful, I'm there to help. But when we're younger and you didn't see anybody for a long time, you would say to yourself, "Huh, I wonder what he's up to these days," right? Now we get to that age and we don't see somebody 15, 20 years, and we say to ourselves, wow, I hope he's still around. I mean, just perspectives change. So, yeah, man, if I wake up today, there are people who didn't. So if I wake up today, it's a good day. Complaining or whining about stuff doesn't do any good.
So last question before we close it out. So what's going to be new for Smoke Inn? Are you looking at more shops? Are you continuing to look to expand? Have you reached your plateau and happy where you're at?
You know what? It's funny because there hasn't ever been a plateau. There is no plateau. I mean, if you plateau, then you finished. So I'm not done creating. So my wife kind of asked me that, and just when you think you're at a plateau, you're not, because you think of something else or something else happened. So 2021 is going to be an interesting year for us. We're getting our first warehouse, which will immensely increase our ability to have more offerings. Because right now, everything that we offer online is limited to our linear shelf space, our humidors. That's where the product's coming from.
Hmm.
So opening up our first warehouse after all these years, knowing nothing about how to run a warehouse, and I was kind enough to ask friends in the industry who were helpful, and that's going to be an interesting project. And then our first location ever that opened in 1996 is moving to a new building after 23 years, or we're moving to 24 years. We're moving to a new building as a temporary pit stop. because we're looking to now make our 2 older stores more like our 2 modern stores, the Boynton and West Palm Beach location. So it's an interesting year. We got projects going on. That's not including some other even fun stuff that we're just doing on the retail experience side. We're launching our Connoisseur Club, a one-of-a-kind, true, unique cigar club where we've commissioned manufacturers to make cigars just for these members. And
I like that.
yeah, and legitimately, these guys make, and that was part of the deal. They weren't willing to do it. We didn't want the club, but we're only opening this up to 500 members. It's kind of like a beta, really. But they're going to get 5 cigars a monthly. We call it the Connoisseur Club, where those cigars aren't even marked. They don't know who made them. They don't know which ones are which. Then they have 2 weeks in which to interact with this package and smoke these cigars. And after 2 other weeks, these QR codes go live, and then they can find out who made the cigar, what region it's from, and there's a little video from the manufacturer telling them what inspired him to make that cigar. There are only 650 cigars being made at every request, so it's a very small run. 500 go to the membership. We have to do extra just in case some get lost in the mail or there's damages or whatnot, but it's gonna be a cool interactive smoking experience. So, continually pushing that threshold is how can we interact differently with our consumer base to take what we do in the physical and be able to extend it. This club is one of those things. So excited to see that launch. And then we have another.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna put a video up about second week of January, in the beginning of the second week of January. Because like I said, it really is only 500 members, because these cigars that we have now for January, which are all in my possession right now, were requested like 6, 7, 8 months ago. Mm-hmm. So all the first few months are done, and they're all 650. So we're really limiting the club to 500. But we're gonna have a live waiting list. So this is not like our subscription base. If you come off,
getting some likes right now on this one.
Yeah, if you come off the list, if you cancel at any point, it goes to the next person on the waiting list, and they have 48 hours to claim it, or it goes to the next person, because there's going to be always 500 no matter what, never more, never less. So, but look, it's one of those things. Like this is a crazy off this wall idea. This club where I literally asked my friends who've been in the industry for years to make a very small run just for this club. I just told them, if you're going to give me another size of something or whatever, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm commissioning an artist to make a cigar, small run. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And it was very cool. They were kind of excited about how it works. And for you to get these cigars and they have to smoke them and try to guess what they're from, and then compare your notes to the real thing a couple weeks later, make it interactive. I think it's cool. I think it's dope as heck. So
it is dope, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how it goes, but you never know. So we could always down the road increase membership, but then we'd have to put that predictivity request in, and you may not see it for 8 months until that's ready to increase. But it's an interesting project, so we're going to keep pulling.
What's the monthly cost? What's the monthly cost on that?
It's going to be $49.95 delivered.
Okay.
$49.95.
5 cigars a month.
5 cigars every month from 5 different companies every month.
That is awesome.
Now, some manufacturers took multiple months in the year, so you may encounter the manufacturer again, but every month you'll get 5 different ones from 5 different companies.
Before I forget and close, there's one last question I forgot to ask you. You doing Battle of Bands again this year?
Yeah, well, I have to. I have to. I mean, Kevin has to defend his title. So, that's, we try to line our projects up, and how we have to attack them. But that's definitely coming on that's definitely coming back on our calendar of stuff for 2021 and how to make it better. That's really what we like to do when we discover something like that, right? Like the first great smoke, like, great. Now, how do we just keep making this better and evolving into something cooler? And there'll be a spinoff in 2021 of Battle of the Bands on the consumer level. And we're very, very, very excited about this. I think it's going to be the coolest thing that may have hit, e-commerce in our industry ever. So there'll be a spinoff of Battle of the Bands that'll be consumer wide. And I'm hoping to launch that in January or February, depending how much time we have with that and the great smoke, visual experience, and but we always keep our plates spinning. And I'm blessed with a good team of guys who can work with my insanity and not get nauseous from all the spinning all over the place. But no, it's fun.
Awesome. So thank you, Abe, for taking your time out on a Christmas weekend. Oh. And if you haven't got in on getting a great smoke party pack. Get out there on smokein.com, look for it, go to my site. The link is right there under the gift guide. I know all of you watching this are going to wait until Saturday to see if you won the ticket, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I'm telling you, this is a great deal. You're not going to get a better deal on cigars for this type of event than with Smoke Inn. I've been to numerous Smoke Inn, great smoke events, and I'm going to say it again, the best in the state of Florida, hands down. Puts on a great show. I'm really missing the fact that it's going to actually be live this year, but 2022, I'll be there again, covering the event as always, enjoying the hospitality and the enjoyment of all the brothers and sisters of the Leaf that come in from all around the country for this. So thank you, Abe.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's awesome being on.
Give you
First
the
time.
last word.
No, man, enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend and always be thankful, man. There's always going to be people who have more. There's always going to be people who have less. You have to appreciate what you got, and that you woke up every day.
Yes. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. This is Boston Jimmie out, Stogie Press. Peace. Thank you for watching Taken to the Nub. This is our final show of the season. We'll pick it up again on January 2nd. I don't know who I might have on. We're working that. But you will learn about top cigars of the year at least. So thank you, Abe. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekends.